Shalom and good day all, this is Healing29 back again for another DC review, and in this DC review I'll be covering Superman Red and Blue 2025 Special Issue 1. Starting off with first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the stories? Sure enough, it does connect to the first story that we do actually see in here, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art as we have a look through all 4 of the stories and also what happens story-wise with each story, including the cast of characters. So as you can see here, these are the titles of the 4 stories, and one of them, I must admit, is definitely my favorite. So this is some of the art around the first story until, of course, the end of that story. Then we move into the next story, and in this we actually get to see the appearance of a young John Samuel Kent. And you're wondering who writes this story? We'll be able to get back to that later. We also get to see what's happening around the middle, almost end of story, and we get the appearance of Lois, Jimmy Olsen, starting to move into the next story. Then we move into the third story, or the fourth story, to which Superman has a bit of an interview. As not long after that, we start to move into the last story. And of course, we have some things happening in the office of the Daily Planet. And we finish off with Superman kissing his darling wife, Lois Lane. So, for the internal art, overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the story rating. Now, for the first story, I gave it a 7 out of 10. For the second story, I gave it an 8 out of 10. One of the reasons is that we actually got to see a young John Kent in there, or young John Samuel Kent in there. Next is story 3, which is by Dan Abnett. It felt a little bit boring, but I know Dan Abnett can actually write some really good stories. This one didn't feel overtly strong. So I end up giving it a 6.5 out of 10. Though, no doubt, I reckon Dan Abnett might actually be able to pull off some really good stories with Superman. It's just giving him the time of day to do all the research that he needs to do to make Superman super. And last but not least, the fourth story, to which I give a 7 out of 10. I know I've missed some things here, but I'll bring up the things that did show up in the stories. So in regards to the area of time, we have the next morning. The locations, we got to see Metropolis and the Fortress of Solitude. Plus there were some other things, other places as well that we got to see. I didn't get to record them all down. And last but not least, the cast of characters consisting of Clark Kent Superman, Kara Supergirl, Krypto, of course young John Samuel Kent, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. There were some other characters as well, but I didn't feel the need to put them in there. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.